Today we are going to discuss regarding the role of ezetimibe in the treatment of dyslipidemia. Ezetimibe block NPC1L1 transporter in small intestine, thereby reducing the transport of cholesterol to the liver. It also causes upgradation of LDL receptors and it increases LDL clearance in the blood. Therefore, it leads to reduction of LDL cholesterol by 25%, reduction of total cholesterol by 20%, reduction of triglyceride by 10%, and increase in HDL cholesterol by 2 to 3%. Now, we will go through the indications of ezetimibe. So, primarily, it is used as an add-on therapy. So, when a patient is started on statin and we are not able to achieve LDL target goal, then we need to add ezetimibe as an add-on therapy in such patients. Second, we can also use ezetimibe as a monotherapy in patients who are intolerant to statins. Dosage, it is given in the dose of 145 mg once a day. It is usually well tolerated, but certain patients may develop side effect in the form of diarrhea, fatigue, and elevated liver enzymes. Now, we will go through the role of fibrates in the treatment of dyslipidemia. Fibrates activate PPAR alpha, a nuclear receptor that regulates lipid metabolism, which further activates lipoprotein lipase, which leads to enhanced breakdown of triglyceride and increased fatty acid oxidation, thereby decreasing triglyceride by 30% and LDL by 20% and increasing HDL by 10%. Now coming to its indications, it is mainly used for hypertriglyceridemia and mixed dyslipidemia. So number one indication is hypertriglyceridemia, when triglyceride levels are more than 500 mg per dl, in order to prevent pancreatitis. Second, in mixed dyslipidemia, it is added as an add-on therapy with statins. Now coming to its third indication, that is patients with diabetes mellitus type 2 or metabolic syndrome who have atherogenic dyslipidemia, that is elevated triglyceride level and decreased HDL level. It is given in the dose of 10 mg per day. It is usually well tolerated, but certain patients may develop side effects, for example myopathy, dyspepsia, and elevated liver enzymes. Now coming to the role of niacin in the treatment of dyslipidemia. Niacin favorably lower all the lipid fractions including HDL. However, its use is limited due to side effect in the form of flushing and metabolic effect. Now, there are certain targets that we need to keep in mind while treating a patient of dyslipidemia. So, coming to lifestyle modification first. In diet, we have to keep in mind that patient has to take reduced consumption of saturated fat and trans fat and increased consumption of fibers, omega-3 fatty acids. Number 2, weight reduction. So BMI should be less than 25. Number 3, exercise. So patient should go for physical activity, that is moderate aerobic physical activity, 150 minutes per week. Fourth, limit alcohol consumption. Fifth, stop smoking. Now there are certain triglyceride and HDL goals that we have to keep in mind. So the patients who are started on treatment, triglyceride levels should be less than 150 mg per dl. That is a target goal for triglyceride. And target HDL goal is it should be more than 40 mg per dl in men and it should be more than 50 mg per dl in women. Now coming to target LDL goal in a patient who are started on treatment for dyslipidemia. So first we have to calculate ASCVD risk score by using ASVD risk calculator. And then we have to classify patients in various risk categories. So if the patient happens to be in very high risk category, then our target LDL goal should be less than 55 mg per dl. If the patient happens to be in high risk category, then our target LDL goal should be less than 70 mg per dl. If the patient happens to be in moderate risk category, then our target LDL goal should be less than 100 mg per dl. And if the patient happens to be in low risk category, then our aim should be to bring down LDL below 116 mg per dl. Thank you.